Welcome to The Great Reboot. I'm Tori Ryden. In March, the lights on Broadway went black. Ditto in Chicago, LA, London, and all the great theaters around the globe. While they have dimmed before, it took COVID-19 to shut them all down, leaving a gaping hole in the world of theater, the bright light of entertainment for so many. COVID-19, though, has created an opportunity for many, too. With so much time suddenly available thanks to stay-at-home orders, the arts are experiencing a boom, from amateur at-home art projects to musicians writing and recording new material, to writers and other professional artists. Inspiration abounds during coronavirus. Our guest, an accomplished playwright, shifted his own art to capture the real-time drama unfolding, creating a series of one-minute plays inspired by the coronavirus. Phil Olson joins us now from Santa Clarita, California. And Phil, welcome to The Great Reboot.
Hey, Tori, thanks for having me.
Great to have you here. I want to just give a little bit more of a background just to let people know how accomplished you are. Phil Olson has written 15 published plays that have had over 350 productions around the world. 9 of his plays are published by Samuel French, including A Nice Family Gathering, A Nice Family Christmas, Mom's Gift, Don't Hug Me, A Don't Hug Me Christmas Carol, A Don't Hug Me County Fair. I see the theme here. Don't Hug Me, I'm Pregnant.
Yep.
Don't Hug Me, We're Married, and Polyester, the musical. Phil has won several National Playwright Awards as well, and has sold 2 screenplays. You've also done a lot of script doctoring. I want to right now play a clip from one of your plays, Phil, Don't Hug Me, We're Married.
We are gathered here today for a union ceremony to join us all together in holy matrimony.
I told you I loved you when we got married. Anything changes, I'll let you know.
Marriage can be a walking up party. Problem is, it's Jurassic Park.
I think you're saying I wear the pants in the family.
Clara controls the zipper.
Well, there must be something you like about marriage.
Oh, when you're in love, it is the most glorious 2.5 hours of your life.
And when she slips into her thigh,
And like long walks in the woods, Jaeger shots, and men who can fog a mirror. I have manly needs. I have womanly needs.
Oh, the party will dance, yeah, for sure.
Yeah!
there's no one else for me but you forevermore. We thank you all for coming to our party.
Phil, your shows are so funny. I mean, it's amazing what you've been able to come up with. A lot of wit there. You must really enjoy writing these Don't Hug Me series.
Well, yes, it comes, they say write what you know, and I'm 100% Norwegian. I grew up in an emotionally reserved Scandinavian household in Minnesota, and my father used to tell us that he was the Norwegian who loved his wife so much he almost told her. So that's what the closest we came to hugging was that kind of awkward arm's length, pat on the shoulders kind of hug. And like a typical conversation in my family, it's like my mom would, oh, tell me you love me, hon. And, oh, for crying in the beer nuts, I told you I loved you when we got married. If anything changes, I'll let you know. So that's my world, and I write about that stuff. So the Don't Hug Me, I have 6 Don't Hug Me musicals now that have Don't Hug Me, which is kind of appropriate apparently, I guess, for the Corona kind of world, is that kind of social distancing, which we practiced my entire life, the social distancing. It's nothing, so my life has not changed at all from this.
Who knew your parents had such foresight to really prepare you for just this global cataclysm? Bravo them.
It was good training. So thanks, Mom and Dad.
So I was reading something in Broadway World, which is, to those who are not involved in theater, Broadway World is kind of the zenith, the pinnacle. It's what you really want to be featured in. And correspondent Sherry Bennett did a really nice spotlight on you, talking to you about kind of where you were when COVID-19 changed everything. You were mid-stride. You were just like a heartbeat away from launching one of your productions, Mom's Gift. Tell me about that. Where was that going to be shown, and what a blow?
Right. It was supposed to open mid-March in the let's see, it's the Western Ontario Drama Festival in Canada, and it was canceled. The whole festival was canceled. So that's tough. And I have 2 other productions that are supposed to open up in June, and those are on a wait and see right now. So uncertain about those. I have other productions opening up in September, October, November, and hopefully I don't know. I don't know if people are going to go back to theater by this year. Might be a wash. I hope not.
I tell you, it's so hard I can't imagine how hard it is for actors who think that they've got all these gigs lined up, paying gigs. And I mean, that's a big part of their job and their income. And suddenly they're kind of in that holding pattern. Does that concern you, that they're going to, whether they'll still be available to be in your shows?
Well, the, availability, everyone is available right now, because no one is, and that's the unfortunate thing about it. I mean, for a playwright, I suppose that's okay, but it's not okay for anybody. But people are available. For example, I wrote one of the things I did during this whole Corona thing, I wrote a short film with a fellow Dartmouth alum, Paul Lazarus, who's a sitcom director, and we've written other short films. So we wrote a short film. We're going to do a Zoom reading of it in 2 weeks with Noah Wiley and Kurtwood Smith. Kurtwood Smith was in That 70s Show, and Noah Wiley's pretty popular. And they're pretty hard to get because they work all the time, but they're available right now to do a Zoom reading in a couple weeks. So,
and they're probably thrilled to have something to do.
And a lot of actors are pretty happy to be doing. I just did a Zoom reading last week on a new play that I wrote called Birthday Club, and we cast it, and we had a wonderful cast, and they were all available, and I was surprised that they were all available. So availability is, that's not difficult right now. Hopefully they won't be available in the fall. Let's knock on wood.
Yeah, keep your fingers crossed on that. So I was just going to ask you, what's your pivot shift? What's your reboot? And I'm assuming it's Zoom.
It is. That's exactly it. We, like I said, we just did a Zoom reading of a new play that I wrote. I'm doing a rewrite of it right now. And in a couple days, I will be contacting, I have a couple other theaters. I've worked with several theaters around the country to do staged readings of my plays when I'm developing them, and then I would fly to Iowa or Texas or Minnesota or Wisconsin and do the readings and be there in person. But I've contacted the theaters, and they're willing to do them via Zoom. So I'll be doing more Zoom readings. And then after the readings in my development, I ask the actors and whoever else is on the Zoom reading for their comments. And so I take notes and then do rewrites and then do another one and another one. So I will be doing several Zoom readings. We just did a Zoom cast party for my last production this past December, January, and we couldn't do a cast party for a while. So we thought, well, so we just did a Zoom cast party. So that was pretty fun. And then this 1 minute coronavirus play festival that I entered, and they performed last week as well. So a lot of people are being pretty creative with Zoom right now.
Yeah, so I read about your 1 minute play festival. I kind of want to talk to you about that because I think if I'm not correct, you were approached by the Dramatists Guild, and they asked you to sit down and write some. Tell me what the process was like, and how many did you write?
I actually just wrote one. They asked each. They sent out emails to lots of playwrights all around the world, the Dramatists Guild, and so I was one of 1,300 that they sent emails out to, and they asked to write a 1 minute coronavirus play, and it can mean anything to you that you would like it to mean, just sort of relating to coronavirus. And so on the top of my head, I have kind of based it on a true story. My girlfriend, who you know, Nancy, she went to Hawaii just as the coronavirus was hitting, and spent some time with her daughter, who works at Duke's, a restaurant in Waikiki. And I know I'm a little bit paranoid because I'm kind of a hermit. I work out of my home. I don't see that many people. So my immune system is, I don't have any immune system. So I get nervous about that. So I'm thinking, well, you're in Duke's, and then which is kind of a lot of tourists from all over the world go there. I'm thinking, so maybe she might have it. And then she went to a park where one of the tour guides had, corona.
It's positive, yeah.
And then she has a special needs daughter who her nurse that comes in during the day's boyfriend is a bodyguard for a rapper who was just touring Japan and Europe recently, which I'm going, and then her cousin has coronavirus. He's a doctor in Seattle who she saw her sister recently, who saw her, so that inspired me to write this sort of dark comedy. So there are 1,300 playwrights. They chose 625 1-minute plays, and they were performed over a 10-day period of time in 10 different theaters around the country. So mine was performed at the Kitchen Theater Company in Ithaca, New York. They had a cast, and then each theater company did 62, 63 1-minute plays on this evening. And so it was a very impressive, the 1 minute play festival has a website, 1minuteplayfestival.com. And so if people want to get involved in it for next time, it's an impressive group that put this together. That's an enormous project.
How did you possibly whittle down? I want to hear more about your 1 minute play, because you just mentioned a lot of characters. How did you put all those people into your 1 minute play?
Well, they asked us to write a play that had no more than 3 people. So I wrote a play that had 2 people in it, and it was set in like a coffee shop. So the title of it was 2 People 6 Feet Apart Drinking Coffee. And so it was just 2 people having a conversation. I wasn't able to record it. I probably should. I could have sent it to you, but I can, if you want to perform it, we can perform the little play.
I try.
Yeah. So how are you holding up with the whole Corona thing?
I'm proud to say I haven't even bought any toilet paper. Why start now?
Gross.
It hasn't affected me since I'm kind of a hermit and antisocial, and I hate people. You?
Well, my girlfriend was in Hawaii last week and went to Duke's, a hot spot for tourists with Corona, so she might have it. And she went to a park where a tour guide did have it, and so she probably has it. Also, her friend works for a rapper who recently played in Europe, so she definitely has it. I'm seeing her this weekend, so I'll probably be dead by Tuesday. Am I being paranoid?
Why don't you just break up with her?
I don't see any other choice. Yeah.
It is such a strange world we're in. I mean, I know that you consider yourself more of a hermit, but you do have to get outside. You do have to go grocery shopping and all of that. How, I guess, what are your thoughts? How do you see all of this kind of unfolding? And do you think that all of this has kind of changed a little bit how the acting world is going to be? Do you think that this might actually be de rigueur from here on out, that there might be more Zoom performances? I mean, I know people love being in person, but just curious.
I am hopeful that things will go back to normal because the business that I'm in requires that people go to theaters and kind of cross that social distance boundary. And so I'm hoping that we'll be able to, like this past December, I do production, I produce myself, as well as I have a bunch of plays published and then they're just licensed, but I do productions myself where I go in and rent a theater, hire the actors. And this past Christmas, I've done many productions in Minnesota in this 800 seat theater. And we pack them in for 5 or 6 performances, and you can't do that. And I don't know when you're going to be able to pack an 800 seat. And think about Broadway, you know, they're 1,200, 2,500 seat theaters where they pack them in. I think that it's going to be 2021, you know, the fall. I kind of keep track of the plays of mine that are licensed through Samuel French Concord Theatricals. I kind of look at it, and I saw, I haven't had a lot of new licenses in the last 2 months, but one just popped up for September of 2021. So, and I'm going, maybe that's it. Maybe it's going to be fall of 2021 when people legitimately start going back. I hope it's not. I really hope it's later this fall, but I just, you know, you think about it, would you want to, I think people are going to be nervous until next year. I just, unfortunately, I think we're going to be in trouble for a while. And then I just hope that it goes back to normal. I hope we don't have to sit every 4th seat in a theater. That's going to be terrible for theater producers if they can't fill the seats. And I kind of have a feeling that once they have the vaccine and everybody's more comfortable, that it will go back to that. I really do. But I think it's going to take a year for people to be comfortable doing that.
I'm wondering, you know, has this time given you some more space to be creative? And I'm wondering also, do you think there's going to be just such a glut of productions that are based on the coronavirus? You know, maybe in fall of 2021, will there be ennui for it? Will people just want something completely different? I mean, I know a lot of people who are just watching slapstick humor or film noir. I mean, they're going to totally different places than maybe they had gone before, just to kind of get out of reality.
I do believe that there will be a call for there definitely is a call for some pandemic movies. So I'm on various sites where producers are asking for, you know, I'm looking for a horror. A lot of people are looking for horror, you know, low budget horror, and action adventure and some romantic comedies, but there have been a call for some pandemic screenplays. So I think we're going to be seeing, once production starts up again in television and movies, which might be later this year, maybe, then I think you're going to see some pandemic movies and definitely TV-themed TV shows, but movies as well. Plays, probably, yeah. I mean, after 9/11, there were some 9/11 plays. There's still 1 or 2 that pop up every once in a while, 9/11 plays. I just saw one not too long ago. So yeah, that's going to happen, but I think you're right. I think that people are going to want to escape from it a little bit, because we see it every day on TV. It's just all day long. You want to break from that, and at night I'll put on a movie, and I'll just put on a goofy comedy or some kind of escape action adventure, just to kind of get away from this whole topic that we live all day long. It's just, yeah, I think you're right. I think people would prefer to escape, but you will be seeing some Corona themed plays and movies.
So, what about you? Do you think that you're going to um, get away from the Don't Hug Me series, or will you? I mean, is there anything kind of new that you can share with us? Because I know it's very competitive, but I'm just curious. Have you gotten any inspiration yourself that you want to kind of check out?
Well, I'm writing an animated series based on the Don't Hug Me musicals because think about it. Animation, you can do animation in the middle of a corona because it's actors going into a studio, a sound studio by themselves, and somebody on the other side of the glass, and then you record your voice. And then the animators, the ones that are creating the animation, they can be at their desk in their office. And so you can do animated series while we're in shutdown. You can't do live action stuff right now. So I'm doing an animated series based on the Don't Hug, and I'm writing it with a guy named Jim Stahl, who is a friend of mine. He's been an actor in some of my Don't Hug Me musicals, and he created a TV show with Howie Mandel called Bobby's World. He created that animated.
For that, sure, of course, Bobby's World, right?
Yeah, and he was on. He's been a Second City Chicago performer. He performed with Bill Murray and Dan Aykroyd and Chevy Chase and Robin Williams and Martin Short, all those guys. So he's well connected, and so he knows all. He teaches writing, screenwriting, and sitcoms at USC. So I partnered up with him, and we're writing this animated series. So we're doing that right now. I just finished another play called Birthday Club. It's got 5 women in it, no men. That's a departure for me. All my stuff has men in it. But I just said, nope, I'm just going to see if I can do something with all women. And we did a reading of that last week, a Zoom reading, and that's fun. I'm really having a good time with that. So I'll continue to do the Zoom readings. I've got the short film that I wrote that we're hopefully going to film in the fall, hopefully. So I do have, I've got a bunch of screenplays that I'm trying to sell right now that I'm pitching to various Zoom pitches to various production companies. So I'm keeping pretty busy trying to pitch my screenplays and writing the new plays. Yeah, I've actually been working a little bit more. I don't know why I've been motivated.
So Phil, I got to say, I'm really busy too. And I know Reggie, my co-creator of this show, is very busy. It seems to be kind of a theme that the creative people just jump into gear and they pile more on their plate. And they take this time and to be a little bit more creative. I don't know if that's a common theme through the creatives.
Well, maybe because I'm not using any of my other senses or doing anything else. This is the only thing that I have. This is on overdrive right now because nothing else is being used. So it could be that. I mean, I don't have much other choice than to just sit in my little cubby and write. So that could be it. But it's really impressive what people are doing, like yourself with the Zoom meeting that we're on right now, and your blog, and I'm impressed with so many actors are doing this kind of a thing and doing these Zoom, using technology to continue their craft, which is kind of a shining light to me in this whole thing.
Phil, that is so insightful, and I have to agree. It's just Zoom has really kind of changed so much, just how we are all stepping back and saying, all right, well, we can't get there that way. It's almost like we've removed the roadblocks through Zoom, which has been incredibly helpful to all of us. Right. I love what you're doing. I love all of the creations that you have going on, and I'm wondering, when would we possibly see your animation, and do you have a name for it yet?
I do, yes. It's Last Stop Before Valhalla. That's the name of it. Takes place in a little town in northern Minnesota. So Valhalla is the whole Viking like heaven, and there's a reason for that because Minnesota's got a lot of Norwegians, and so we're going to be visited by some pretty famous Norse lore people in this that we have seen in Marvel Comics. So I don't want to give away too much of it, but it is pretty wild. And we do have a showing by Mike Lindell, My Pillow, the guy that makes the My Pillow, you know, Mike Lindell, he's from Minnesota. And so he's one of my heroes because I love his whole demeanor, and the way he talks is just, so we bring him into our animated series. I probably shouldn't have mentioned that to you, but
That's okay. That's hilarious.
So
It sounds like it's going to be fantastic.
well, it's
Is my-
it's pretty wacky. It's out there. It's a function. When is it going to come out? It's a function of really pitching it to you know, like a Netflix or Hulu or Comedy Central, and it's just finding, you know, a studio or producer that will do it. And right now, in fact, we're going to have a Zoom meeting this afternoon, Jim and I, because we're doing some kind of final rewrites on the pilot. And he has a friend of his that's an animator that we have attached to it that has done a lot of has animated many projects. And so those guys have a lot of connections. So it's going to be a function of who we can get it to, really, and who will do it. So that's the kind of the entirety of how Hollywood was just getting somebody to do it.
Yes, I am just thoroughly enjoying how much fun you're having with this time. I mean, I know it's a debilitating time and everybody is hunkered down and all of that, but it's a bright light. I mean, you're a bright light, and I just love what you're doing because you are going to be providing so much laughter at a time that people really need it. And I love what you've done to shift and pivot and do all of that. It's really remarkable, Phil. Thank you. I love it.
Oh, thank you. Appreciate it. Yeah, no, it's it hasn't changed. Unfortunately, it hasn't changed my life that much because I'm somewhat of a hermit, and I spend all day writing and indoors. So I can't go to the gym, so that's it. That's the one thing that I can't do that I would like to do. But I set up a little gym in my home here and work out there. But yeah, it's being that training that my parents gave me growing up, the whole social distancing, not being around people in the first place has really helped me a lot. It's so sad.
That is kind of sad, but you know, look at how brilliant it all is in the end. So Phil, in kind of a twisted, ironic kind of way, it seems like coronavirus was custom made for your plays, and the topic of don't hug.
Right. I promise I didn't plan it that way. The Don't Hug Me musicals. In fact, somebody sent me an email saying, "Hey, Phil, don't you have a lot of Don't Hug Me merchandise?" Or I have T-shirts that say "Don't Hug Me" on them, and hats, Don't Hug Me hats. So go to don'thugme.com and you can buy my Don't Hug Me shirts and hats. Which I feel horrible that you don't want to take advantage of the whole situation. But that was somebody else that planted that seed of promoting and I really haven't done that. This is the first time I've actually even mentioned that. So it's you're the one that brought it up. So there you go.
Well, let me just say, I mean, it's almost as if you were a prognosticator. I mean, you really had such a vision for all of this. So really, it's all you.
Yeah, well, I'm just serving the planet by helping to social distance.
Well, Phil, if people want to read more about you and they want links to some of the plays that you've written and that you've been behind, where can they find out more information?
Sure, you can go to philolson.com. So PHILOLSON, philolson.com. And from there, you can link to any of my plays. I have lots of different websites for each one of my plays. And so if you go there, you can see trailers to to the various musicals and listen to the songs that I've written with my brother. And so yeah, there's a lot of information you get off of Don't Hug Me or philolson.com.
Okay, well, I can't thank you enough for being on The Great Reboot and sharing your story and your strategy. It's really working for you. So thank you so much for taking the time.
Yeah, thanks, Tori, for letting me share my story. Appreciate it.